In light of Meghan Markle's recent marriage to Prince Harry, there has been a lot of discussion of what the British monarchy actually entails, and if we even need the British monarchy anymore. Some have even advocated the abolition of the British monarchy, which begs the question, if countries like America strive to institute democracies around the world and spread freedom, why does the British monarchy still exist? Why does Britain hold on to a tradition that caused so many people to flee from Britain in the first place? Heck, I thought the US fought a revolutionary war against the British monarchy to be freed of its grasp. As an American, I'm now going to embark on an endeavor that would be considered to be traitorous by many, but I'm going to shelve the existence of the British monarchy under a financial lens.
That's the sweat of the blues explosion. That's the sweat of the blues explosion. That's the sweat. I wanna, yeah.
We are in a situation where the British monarchy doesn't have much contribution to the daily activities of the English Parliament. According to the Royal Monarchy portal, it claims that today the monarchy represents England as a singular unit and establishes a sense of continuity for its people. In this light, the English monarchy establishes an outward appearance for the rest of the world. This inviting appearance encourages millions of people from around the world to visit historical and current monarchical sites such as Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace. To understand why the monarchy can be considered as a worthwhile state interest and investment of its time, we need to look at various figures. Brand Finance, an independent financial institution, releases yearly reports discussing the fiscal health of the British monarchy. In its 2017 report, Brand Finance reported that the monarchy is actually worth $70 billion over a period of 5 years. Approximately $28 billion of that worth resides in tangible assets, consisting of royal properties like the Crown Estates and Buckingham Palace. The other $42 billion of this wealth resides in intangible assets over the course of the years 2012 to 2016. Most of these intangible assets consist of the monarchy's use of its brand to rake in the income. If we break down these numbers, we need to break them down in terms of long-term growth and short-term growth. In terms of long-term growth, we have the monarchy's income valued at $54 billion. Conversely, its costs come to a whopping $12 billion, which yields that $42 billion value that I was discussing beforehand. I'll come back to this later, but for now we'll be focusing on short-term growth over the course of a year. Brand Finance deduced that the effect of the royal family's intangible assets for 1 year's worth of investment totaled to approximately $3.8 billion. The three highest moneymakers from the intangible assets include tourism at various royal family abodes, special events related to the monarchy, and advertising for the monarchy. It is also worth noting the effects of royal warrants since they remain as a steady stream of income for the monarchy. What is a royal warrant, you may ask? Royal warrants are permits allowing certain businesses within the UK or around the world to sell to the British monarch. Royal warrants also allow for vendors to sell products using the display of the monarchy's coat of arms. Brand Finance estimates the effect of these permits to amount to $200 million. These gains also come with quite a few expenses for the monarchy, amounting to $2.2 billion. However, it is important to note that 86% of their expenses come from the wealth spent from an additional bank holiday, which basically means they lose a lot of money from taking vacation. So over the course of a year, the year in question being 2012, the royal family made a profit of approximately $1.6 billion US. To put this into any sort of economic perspective, we need to compare this $1.6 billion to other values. One of these values that we can use is the UK's yearly gross domestic product, or GDP. GDP represents the amount of money that is produced from a country's economy, which accounts for four main categories: consumption, or spending by normal citizens, government spending, investment, or anything someone buys to use later, like a tractor. Always like using that example for some reason, and the difference between export amounts and import amounts. In the year of 2012, the year the short-term analysis was performed, the UK's GDP amounted to a whopping $2.662 trillion. If we take the amount of profit received by the monarchy, we will receive a minuscule number of $1.6 billion. However, since GDP accounts for all expenditures, which includes the monarchy, we can combine the wealth brought in by the monarchy, in addition to its expenditures, and come out to a whopping $6 billion. Great, but when compared to the massive $2.662 trillion, the monarchy's contribution towards the UK GDP is a measly 0.23%. Additionally, we can also look at the approximate tourism numbers accounting for the number of people who visit places affiliated with the monarchy each year. There are around 2.7 million people who visit royal properties every year, and there are 36 million people visiting the UK altogether. The amount of people visiting monarch properties every year amounts to 7.5% of the people visiting the UK every single year. These numbers are actually pretty small, and one can make a cohesive argument against the existence of the monarchy based on this information. However, maybe expecting the monarchy to bring in trillions of dollars every year might be asking for a bit much. This is where we can utilize tourism GDP numbers. In 2012, the tourism GDP amounted to roughly $191.2 billion, which comes out to 7.1% for the UK economy. Comparing this amount to the $6 billion figure I was speaking about beforehand, we could find the percentage of worth compared to the 2012 GDP being around 3%. In the grand scheme of things, 3% is a fairly insignificant contribution for one business alone. However, figures released by the UK government in 2015 indicate that tourism GDP is on the rise in the coming years. These figures project that tourism will consist of 9.9% of the UK GDP in 2025. The report projects these numbers based on a GVA multiplier of 2.8. Wait. What does GVA stand for? And what does a multiplier have anything to do with this? GVA stands for the gross value added, and essentially accounts for the total incomes to an amalgamation of businesses within a selected area. I could honestly do an entire video about this, but I choose not to at the moment. But yes, this money will be circulated throughout the economy in this way as a result of client expenditures. People like to use the term trickle-down economics, but I hear that's a dirty word, so we'll steer clear of that for now. We should also mention the situation involving the sums of money that British Parliament gives to the monarchy every year. The Crown Estates is a now government-owned royal property originally owned by the monarchy. Most of the expenditures from there will be given to the British government. However, Parliament has a yearly commitment towards the Queen in which 15% of the profits from the Crown Estates must go to the monarchy. In 2013, $325.8 million were generated at the Crown Estates, and the royal family received around $49 million. This amount corresponds to around 3% of the operating costs throughout the year, since most of the operating costs reside in security and throwing royal ceremonies. Based on this small percentage, we can understand that the monarchy remains a large-scale luxury business with almost no cost to the taxpayer. We also have to acknowledge that there is a lot of qualitative analysis that this review does not cover. Having the monarchy represent the UK creates a lot of incentive around the world for people to visit the UK. This is extremely hard to quantify. If you were paying attention beforehand, I mentioned the potential income of the monarchy being valued at around $42 billion over the course of 5 years. This assumes a factor of constant growth over the course of those 5 years. This could be amplified by the promotion of the UK by the monarchy around the world, so the growth rate factor would be increased, thereby not making it linear anymore. This is just speculation, however, since there is no good way to quantify the effects of this. So to finish this off, we've learned that the monarchy doesn't contribute all that much to GDP, but contributes some portion to the tourism economy of the UK. We have also learned that the monarchy pays for a large portion of its dues and doesn't expect much from the British taxpayer to support its lifestyle. In this respect, I realize there are many who don't see the purpose of a monarchy in this day and age, and I agree that monarchies are undesirable within the 21st century in regards to governance. I can also understand those who view holding onto historic properties as a nuisance in terms of upkeep. For example, the attendance numbers at Versailles in France are at such historic lows that the French government is actually considering paying people to actually visit. But if we could see from this analysis that the royal family acts as a legacy luxury business, we can liken today's monarchy to luxury boat businesses and businesses that built houses that are on Lake Geneva costing millions of dollars. Should we get rid of those businesses as well because they only cater to the rich? If there's a business for a product that possesses demand, I don't see any rush to dismantle that business. As we have discovered that the monarchy is one of these types of businesses, it would be a waste of time to deconstruct the British monarchy because of its historical and monarchical origins. This is John Smith, and I'll see you back in my basement in the next video.
Streetlights, neon lights, and from my fingertips, gotta grip the world at risk. Hit the road, the streets they're calling. Sing this song to me every night. I'm wild ambition, a fire in her eyes.